exhibits of Connecticut history that will take you through various time periods. I may not be talking much during this scope because there are other people, of course, here visiting, but we're starting with the area that is from 1635 to 1687. I also want to mention Connecticut. People always wonder, where do we get that name? It's from the Native Americans who lived here. Before, this was an established colony, and so they were the Connecticut Native Americans who lived here. I'm going to start with this furniture display, which comes from the early 1600s. And at that time, homes really did not have much furniture, by the way. So we're looking at some chairs, which would have been very unusual to have in homes at that time. But this was the chair that was actually owned by the governor of Connecticut at the time, which was Governor John Winthrop, Jr. He was also a physician at that time, and he blended a lot of magic with science and religion. Of course, we have to remember this is going back to the 1600s. People did not have closets at that time, but they did, if they were very wealthy, they might have had a chest that looks quite like this one. And again, it was very unusual for people to have furniture in their homes at that time. When we're going back. So I'm going to be showing you different periods. This exhibit goes all the way. Hello, Tudor. I'm going to try to say hello to people as you join, but it's going to be a little bit hard because I am in a museum and there are people here. But I am able to scope in here, so it's great to see you all here and to share Connecticut history with you. And again, for anybody that's joining now, I just want to remind you the name Connecticut comes from the Native Americans who lived here way before the settlers. And they were the Connecticut Native Americans. And there actually is a canoe here back from that time period. It starts the exhibit. I might have a chance to show it to you a little bit later. There are some Native American relics in through this area. I'll just pause really briefly here just to show you a few there in some cases. And these are originals that you're looking at. Okay, I'm going to now be we're moving away from, again, this is going to be a quick history tour. We're moving away from 1635 and 1687, and we're moving into another area. It'll continue to be some of the 1600s, however. Okay, I'm going to stop in different places to show you different things. These are some of the old books from that time period, law books, and a Bible. Of course, it'd be a little hard to read it today. Hello, Tina. Okay, and by the way, this today is what's called Open Studio in Hartford, so all the art galleries, there's about 40 of them are open, and the Connecticut Historic Society, where I'm starting my day, has this exhibit here permanently, but today it's just open to the public to come in and have a chance to see it. So these are different war weapons from New England, from the going back to the 1600s. Okay, I'm now moving into a little later time period, to show you some of the other artifacts. We're now in the colonial life of 1687 to 1775. And so we're going to see some furniture. This is actually a tapestry. I'll turn the landscape for a minute to show you the whole tapestry. Okay, now we're going to look at some objects that would have been in people's homes during that time period. There's a chest that we're looking at. And by the way, a lot of people in New England live in older homes, so they do like to collect antiques. So it's not unusual if somebody does buy. Yes, this is in Hartford. The Connecticut Historic Society has its museum in Hartford. Okay, we're looking obviously here at a spinning wheel. You could probably guess what that is. I'm not going to quite tell you, but it's a child's version of what you're looking at. Okay. Now we're looking at some moccasins, hand-sewn moccasins. Yeah, it's fascinating. And these were actually moccasins that would have been worn by the Native Americans. There's an illustration here showing you how they were made, starting with a flat piece of leather. I'll just kind of poke up there to show you a few other things that are part of this exhibit. Oh, okay, I thought you would. Okay, and that's that spinning wheel again. Okay, I'm going to continue around this way where we have another exhibit. Now, Connecticut is very famous for clocks, and so obviously you have this gigantic grandfather clock you're looking at. Thank you, I'm glad you like history. Okay, this is what's called a Windsor chair. Windsor, Connecticut is the oldest town in Connecticut, and that is a simple Windsor chair. There's several of them here. I'll show you a few of them. And this is a portrait. Gives you an idea of what women at that time period, especially if they're wealthy, what they might have looked like. And this woman, believe it or not, going back at that time period, just giving you a typical idea of the dress of that time period. Okay, and this woman eventually went on to have 9 children. Okay, so I'm going to continue around a little bit further. We have a lot more of these portraits. Oh, a great stationery desk right here. Oh, you're very welcome, and thanks. I'm glad you could stop in for a bit to learn a little bit about Connecticut history. Beef, at the time, this is a big sign and advertisement for beef, which was traded here, and we still have a lot of cow farms here in Connecticut. Occasionally I do scope them. Okay, we're now skipping up to the American Revolutionary time period from 1775 to 1783. And so I'll walk you around and show you some of the pieces that are in this exhibit. It's a little dark in here, but I think we're still getting enough lighting. So again, these are all from the American Revolutionary time period. Hi, Sarah. Again, those stark portraits. Hi, everybody. I don't know how well I'm getting that in there. I'm going to step back. So there's also actually benches here that you could sit on if you wanted to stay and take a look at this exhibit. Fantastic grandfather clock over here, just beautiful. I'm going to try to pan down so you could see all the woodwork on it and the face of it. Hello, somebody's on here for the first time on Periscope. Okay, so we're going to leave the exhibit here from the American Revolution because I'm trying to jump around the exhibit a bit and try to give you a chronology. Okay, so now we're looking at Connecticut during the periods of the 1783 to 1820s. And so just kind of stop at different places here. By the way, Connecticut was the 5th of 9 states to ratify the Constitution. There is a copy of the Constitution right there on the wall. And this is a portrait that we're looking at of Reuben Humphreys. He was the superintendent of the oldest prison in the state of Connecticut, Newgate Prison, which is in East Granby, Connecticut. And it was open to the public. Occasionally they do tours there. It's an underground prison. Okay, now we can look at some of the clothing from that time period. It should be fun to look at some of the clothing. You could actually stop here and try it on if you wanted to. We won't quite do that, but I'll just show it to you. And so we're really like inside what would be a kitchen at that time period in colonial times. And so you could step right in here, which is I'm going to do. And just show you the clothing that's hanging on the walls and what people wore at that time period. And again, people are welcome to try on the clothing. So these are clothes from the 1700s. There's a neat display here of a fireplace. See if I could step back and show you that a little bit. And then little children's kitchen set right there. Gosh, there's a lot of people on here. I wasn't sure Connecticut history would be that interesting to people, but I'm glad to share this with people. Because again, Connecticut is one of the original colonies, and I've always wondered why we were called Connecticut, and of course it goes back to the Native Americans. I just noticed there's a mirror over there. Okay, you can almost see my reflection in it. Okay, so we're going to continue comparing. This is a fantastic tea set. I'm going to turn a portrait. This would have been for a very wealthy family. And they found a great... yes, some good people here that know about history. It looks like Carlo's come on, too. So again, this would have been a tea set for middle class, or actually I would say a wealthy family in Connecticut. It's an original. Maybe we should go back to the tradition of having these teas in the afternoon just for some time to relax.